Hello guys, welcome back to LR Anime. Guys, please like the video and subscribe to my channel. Today is explanation of BTTH Rebirth of Emperor Yang episode number 214 based on novel. So let's start. Seeing that the pill in his heart was present in front of everyone present, Master Hu's old face showed a satisfied smile. His eyes swept over Xiao Yan and looked at the other four families. At this time, their faces were not good-looking. Obviously, they are not satisfied with this answer. Hehe, it seems that the winner of this medicine refining competition is still my Hu family. In that case, I'd better obey my orders. Master Hu raised a sneer at the corners of his mouth and pretended to bow his hands to the people present. Immediately, he looked at his young man and said with a smile, "Lina, don't go and get all the pills back quickly. These are your victories." Smelling the speech, the young man also grinned and moved. When he came to Xiao Yang, he wanted to put his pill and the other four pills away from him. According to the rules of their game, the winner is entitled to control the ownership of the other four pills. It can be said that the game itself is a predatory war. The winner takes the pills, while the loser can only return decadent. Looking unwilling, Hu Yonglin approached Xiao Yang. Although the four families, including the other four young men, were unwilling, they could only break their teeth and swallow in their stomach. But, please wait a minute. Just as Hu Yonglin was about to take the pill from Xiao Yang turned his palm and held the pill back in his hand. At the same time, he spoke to stop Hu Yonglin in front of him. Among the crowd, the sloppy old man nodded with a strange smile on his face. He said in his heart that it was good. Then his body flashed and disappeared quietly in the crowd. "Mr. Xiao Yang, what do you mean?" Master Hu frowned and said in a slightly low tone. For the latter's voice, he felt a faint uneasiness in his heart. Could this boy say more? At the same time, the other four families, as well as the passers-by around, also set their eyes on Xiao Yang. They looked suspicious and were even more curious. Now that the answer has been announced, the winner should be Hu Yonglin. Yes, but what does Xiao Yang mean by this move? Master Hu, you ask me what this means. I think you should know the reason better than me. The quality of this pill is indeed the best of the 5 pills, but it has consumed a lot of medicine. It should be because it has been stored for a long time. As we all know, the medicine contained in the pill that has just been refined is extremely strong and huge, which is why most people choose to swallow it immediately after the pill is refined, but the pill at the moment is obviously not. Master Hu, what's going on? The other 8 people stepped forward and looked at Master Hu with a questioning look. At the same time, the people around also looked at Master Hu strangely. Damn it! What a beast! A calf is not afraid of a tiger. By the eyes of the people, Master Hu's old face suddenly became iron blue. The muscles on his old face couldn't help twitching slightly, but he looked speechless, as if he was looking for an excuse in his heart. After a long time, Master Hu raised his old eyes and suddenly fell on Xiao Yang. A pair of turbid old eyes were filled with warm and angry flames. Mr. Xiao Yang, it's just the first time we've met. You don't have to target us like this. You say that the medicine power of this pill is damaged. It's a joke. How can the pill just refined from the medicine tripod be damaged? Master Hu, do you mean I'm gossiping and confusing black and white? Xiao Yang frowned and said in a deep voice. But what if this is not a pill just refined? You mean I changed the pills? Master Hu's old face sank and he looked very unhappy. At the same time, the other 8 fourth-order herbalists came up to Xiao Yang to explore the authenticity of the pill. Mr. Xiao Yang, I also hope you can give us the pill. This is a matter between our 5 families. If this order is really as you said and the medicine is damaged, it should also be solved by ourselves. Among the 8 people, an older middle-aged man stepped forward, arched his hands politely at Xiao Yang, and said with a smile. On the other side, Master Hu looked at the situation here, but the look on his old face was more gloomy. He didn't expect to let Xiao Yang come forward to identify the pill. He was so ignorant. He knew that he had no power behind him, but he still wanted to meddle in his own affairs. Isn't this the same as looking for death? At the same time, Xiao Yang also smiled and slowly extended the pill in his hand to the middle-aged man. Master Hu, If this is really what Mr. Xiao Yang said, I'm afraid you have to give us a clear answer. The middle-aged people look cold and have a little anger in their eyes. They have held drug refining competitions like this more than once. However, in the past, almost everyone stepped in like Xiao Yang, and the final result is often that the people of the Hu family win. But I didn't expect that this time, Xiao Yang broke the convention. At the same time, also let the four of them see the means of the Hu family. Sure. However, at the moment when the voice of the middle-aged population just fell, Master Hu flashed like a ghost and appeared among them. With a big hand, he grabbed the pill in Xiao Yang's hand. Boy, I'm so polite to you, but I can't imagine that you dare to slander my people in public and say that we changed pills. In my opinion, it's you who changed pills. The voice of thin anger spewed out from the old man's mouth, as if he had really been wronged. At the same time, the speed of the falling palm did not slow down at all. He was about to hold the pill in his hand. However, at this time, buzz! A surging tide of fighting spirit swept out of the anti-inflammatory body without using any fighting skills. It was just the overflow of energy, which easily shocked several people around the body, including Master Hu, who is now appearing in front of him. With only one blow, the 10 high-level fighting emperor strong men in the center of the field and the 5 young people were easily shocked back by this energy wave for dozens of steps until they fell into the crowd. At the moment when the 10 people looked up, they were shocked. They never expected that this young black-robed youth was not only good at soul power, but also strong in fighting spirit. Easily shocked back a few people. Xiao Yang's face didn't cause too much look fluctuation. A pair of painted black eyes with cold eyes fell on the Master Hu. The cold eyes made the latter's body couldn't help but excite the spirit. His steps unconsciously stepped back, and his heart sank. Unexpectedly, this time, he kicked the iron plate. This breath. Is it the 9-star fighting emperor? How is it possible for such a young 9-star fighting emperor? Not only Master Hu, but also the 9 people around him, looked at Xiao Yang with the same look of horror, including the people around him. What is the identity of this young man in black robe, and how terrible should his cultivation be if he can shock back 10 strong fighting emperors by himself? The boy's history is definitely not simple. You can't be an enemy. The people of several families couldn't help looking at each other and nodded secretly. Although their usual relationship was not good, now the strength of the black-robed youth was enough to threaten their respective forces, so they had to let this group of local snakes hold each other together. Of course, as for Master Hu, no one will pay attention to them. For the latter, I believe no one in the city will like him. Ha ha ha, Mr. Xiao Yang is really young and promising. He is not only a 4th-order herbalist. Unexpectedly, he is even as powerful as Sai. It really makes us ashamed. Previously, the middle-aged man who held out his hand to Xiao Yang stood up and bowed respectfully to Xiao Yang and hugged him. If he only respected Xiao Yang's status as a herbalist, then at the moment, the cultivation strength of the latter is the reason why he really bowed his head. Seeing the middle-aged people like this, suddenly, in the field, except Master Hu and a middle-aged man beside him, others, including those onlookers, bowed and hugged Xiao Yang respectfully. Seeing this scene, Xiao Yang smiled coldly and took back the powerful breath released from his body. In this world, is it really your own strength that can make others really show respectful attitude to you? Apart from this, even if he is a 4th-order herbalist, he can't threaten these people in front of him. After all, compared with each other, there are 10 4th-order herbalists. As for the 9-star fighting emperor, there is no one in the field, and this, it is precisely the reason why they are afraid of Xiao Yang. Among these 10 people, the one with the strongest cultivation is no different from Master Hu. In the later stage of the 8-star duty, such cultivation is indeed called strong, but in front of a strong 9-star duty, the 8-star duty is far from enough. Of course, Master Hu, as a 4th-level herbalist, with his own appeal, can certainly attract countless strong people. However, at the same level, the other party is a 4th-level herbalist. Even if he is also the 9-star fighting emperor, almost no one is willing to provoke such a strong person. Master Hu, you just said I slandered you. I don't know if you still think so now. Xiao Yang stared at Master Hu with cold eyes and a sneer at the corners of his mouth. Although he took back most of his momentum and authority, He did not let Master Hu go. For such people, he either respected each other as guests, or he had to overwhelm them and give him too many breathing opportunities. He would only think that others were afraid of him. At this moment, Master Hu is facing the terrible pressure from Xiao Yang. Cold sweat constantly comes out of his forehead, his face is uncertain, and the mood in his heart is more difficult to express. If he was given another chance, he would never provoke the seemingly harmless guy in front of him. Who would have thought that a young man in black robes would have such a powerful power that even a man who has practiced all his life can't compare with it? What's more terrible is that while his fighting spirit is strong, the latter is still a 9-star fighter. It made him dare not imagine. Little brother, it's just the first time we've met. Why are you so unique? It's better to leave some room for each other and make it convenient to be friends in the future. Master Hu now completely dispersed his original prestige. Listening to his words, he did not intend to continue to insist on innocence. Friend. It's necessary for me to be friends with you. You are also qualified to be a herbalist if you violate the rules of a herbalist and use such abusive means in a herbalist competition. Xiao Yang sneered with disdain and moved his mind. A more terrible momentum suddenly fell from Master Hu's head, just like Mount Tai, bending the latter's body in an instant. Bang! He was half kneeling on the ground, his knees were embedded in the floor, and the surrounding hard floors were turned into a pile of stone powder with a bang. Lao Zu. Grandpa. Seeing the old man kneeling down, Hu Yonglin and the middle-aged man standing next to him suddenly changed their faces. Hu Yonglin's eyes suddenly turned, and Sen Lung's eyes fell on Xiao Yang's body. As soon as his body shook and his fighting spirit surged, he wanted to rush towards Xiao Yang. Bang! However, at the moment Hu Yonglin set out, Xiao Yang carried it with him. The invisible force bombarded Hu Yonglin's chest like a shell. With a dull bang, the latter's body also flew backwards and disappeared into the crowd behind. Noisy. In Xiao Yang's eyes, such strength is just like mole ants. Boy, don't be too reckless. This is the North Region and the North Wasteland Hall, and my Hu family is the people of the North Wasteland Hall. If you dare to do it again, the North Wasteland Hall will not spare you. Just as Xiao Yang blew Hu Yonglin away, the middle-aged man stepped forward with a fierce face and a threatening tone. Oh, are you from Beihuang Temple? His eyes narrowed falsely, and Xiao Yang paused, which seemed to be the way of doubt. Hearing Xiao Yang's questionable words, the middle-aged man was happy. Sure enough, as long as he was in the northern region, anyone who heard the reputation of the Northern Wilderness Hall was not afraid. Yes, we are the people of Beihuang Hall. If you... Bang. However, this time, without waiting for the middle-aged man to finish his words with pride, Xiao Yang turned over easily. The forest white flame suddenly condensed on the middle-aged man's head and turned into a big flame hand. In an instant, he shot the middle-aged man's body. Since I'm from Beihuang Temple, I don't have to be merciful. After killing the middle-aged man, Xiao Yang turned his eyes, and his cold eyes fell on Master Hu again. Since he is from the North Wasteland Hall, Xiao Yang doesn't need to care if he starts. I thought these guys should know how to stop after seeing their own strength, but it seems that it's not what Xiao Yang imagined. Boy, you should think clearly that the people in the North Wasteland Hall are not easy to kill. If you really kill us, the North Wasteland Hall will not let you go. Noticing Xiao Yang's extremely cold eyes, Master Hu suddenly sank in his heart. He only hoped to frighten each other with the North Wasteland Hall. Unfortunately, his idea was obviously wrong. If I kill you, Beihuang Temple will not let me go. But if I don't kill you, will they let me go? Hearing the speech, Xiao Yang smiled coldly and raised his hand. The flame on Master Hu's head suddenly soared, but in the twinkling of an eye, he turned into a big white flame hand and wanted to fall on Master Hu's head. Boy, don't deceive people too much. At the moment when he saw the big hand of the flame, Master Hu suddenly felt a thrill. He had seen the horror of this thing just now. If he let it fall on himself, wouldn't he want to follow in the footsteps of the man just now? It's just a pity that under the absolute threat of Xiao Yang, even if he is the 8-star emperor, he can't get rid of it. He can only watch the flame floating overhead fall. However, at the moment when the flame fell, Master Hu suddenly screamed and said, "Lord Su, save me." With a scream, in the ancient castle deep in the city, there was an extremely huge breath sweeping out of the wind. The invisible power condensed into an invisible blade in the void and shot hard at the flame. Forgive others and forgive others. Your Excellency has done so, but some don't pay attention to my Beihuang temple. The thick voice of words came, and then a dull bang came out of the air, and the big flame hand suspended on Master Hu's head dispersed. Xiao Yang was indifferent to this. For this person, he had already noticed the latter's breath when he entered the city, but he didn't take it to heart. In the early days of the 9-star fight, Xiao Yang was not afraid of this cultivation as early as a few months ago, let alone now. As the fire spread, the powerful momentum and pressure that had suppressed Master Hu also dissipated. Then, a middle-aged figure appeared in front of Master Hu and half of his body blocked him behind. As soon as the latter saw the appearance of the middle-aged man, an old face suddenly showed a surprise color. At the same time, when he looked at Xiao Yang, he also gave a little more sneer. The smile was like telling that there was a 9-star duty sitting behind him. He was not afraid of Xiao Yang. While the middle-aged man appeared, other people in the field immediately cast respectful eyes on him. Like Xiao Yang, the latter's deterrent is not worse than the strong, or perhaps because the latter guards here all the year round. In contrast, these people are more afraid of the Lord Su. The strength of the 9-star fighting emperor in this city, except for the 5 families, is that he covers the sky. Even the 5 families worship the latter carefully. There are some reasons why Master Hu can call out the latter at the critical moment. When the Lord Su appeared, a pair of sharp eyes tore the void like a sharp sword and fell on Xiao Yang. At the same time, the latter also looked at it blandly. Well. Then, Lord Su looked at Xiao Yang's young face, but he seemed to think of something. He had seen this face not long ago. Although it was only a general appearance, he could still identify at a glance that the person in front of him was the guy the Lord ordered to clean up. Noticing the surprised eyes of Lord Su, Xiao Yang smiled coldly. He knew that this guy should recognize himself, but it didn't matter. Whether he could recognize it or not, he would kill them today. He didn't want to make trouble with Beihuang Hall, but these guys regarded themselves as high-ranking and could not be touched by anyone. They just killed a Star King, and countless ants would rush over. In the final analysis, there would be today's situation. Part of the reason should also be attributed to Pang Liu. But all this is no longer important. Xiao Xian was injured and the North King was sealed in the Obsidian Tower. He was almost left by the South Hall Lord. Once he was left, he will die. Since the other party won't leave room for him, there is no need to show mercy. Are you the guy who killed Elder Li? The middle-aged man's face was a little suspicious. He still couldn't believe that the person who could kill a 7-star fighting emperor would only be such a young man. Although he had seen the portrait of the latter, he was surprised to see it with his own eyes at the moment. As soon as he said this, Master Hu's face behind him suddenly changed. He naturally heard about it. At present, he understood in his heart. No wonder Xiao Yang would shoot them without scruples. Boy, are you going with me, or do you want me to take you back? The middle-aged man's tone was cold and indifferent. It seemed that he was not worried about the strength shown by Xiao Yangang. After all, he is a young man. Even if his accomplishments are strong, how strong can he be? What's more, there are many strong people in Beihuang Hall. It's not easy for everyone to join hands to win Xiao Yang. Oh. Hearing the speech, Xiao Yang grinned, and the smile looked very cold. Why don't you come with me? What? The middle-aged man was slightly stunned. It seemed that some didn't believe what Xiao Yang said. However, at the next moment, a dark shadow appeared in front of the middle-aged man like a ghost. The palm turned over and fell heavily on the middle-aged man's chest. What? This boy? What a terrible speed. When he was shocked, the middle-aged man didn't dare to have the slightest hesitation. Years of combat experience made him absolutely calm at this time. In the face of Xiao Yang's attack, the middle-aged man was shocked, but he didn't panic at all. The fighting spirit surged violently and condensed rapidly in the palm of his hand. Then, he blasted with Xiao Yang's palm. Bang! A blow fell. Although the middle-aged man was not seriously injured, he was also blown out by Xiao Yang's palm, and his blood churned in his body. Su Jian Master's face changed and his body retreated. At the same time, his eyes looked angrily at Xiao Yang opposite. His eyes were full of shock. The sole of the foot pedaled back and forth on the void. Each foot fell, it would crush the void under his feet. It was not until dozens of steps later that Lord Su calmed his body with a dignified face, stared at Xiao Yang with his eyes, and said in an unbelievable voice, "The later stage of the 7-star fight? How is this possible? Your strength. Cultivation does not determine everything, just as age does not determine strength. Poor you still can't understand this truth." The voice of shocked words in the main mouth of Su Hall had not yet fallen, but Xiao Yang shook his head with a sneer. Almost at the same time, his right hand suddenly raised, his 5 fingers bent into claws, and sen white flames suddenly emerged at the fingertips. The cold eyes filled with sen white flames also fell on Master who was numb to one side at the same time. "Think I can't kill you with the support of the 9-star fighting emperor? I hate you, such a ungrateful and treacherous guy." The cold cry fell, and Xiao Yang's palm also fell on Master Hu's throat. The flame spread rapidly and covered Master Hu's whole body in the blink of an eye. With a hoarse scream, the old man's body was covered by cold ice in the twinkling of an eye. When Xiao Yang loosened his palm, it was scattered and broken into ice debris all over the ground. The strangeness of bone spirit cold fire was displayed incisively and vividly at this moment. As soon as his eyes turned, Xiao Yang looked at the other 4 families. Seeing Xiao Yang's overbearing attitude, the latter immediately cowered and retreated back. Even the leader of Su Hall, who is the 9-star fighting emperor, is not Xiao Yang's opponent. How dare they dare to fight against it? At the same time, these people also secretly feel lucky. Fortunately, they didn't treat Xiao Yang before. Otherwise, at the moment, I'm afraid Master Hu won't be alone in the broken ice all over the ground. Boy, you have repeatedly hurt people in the jurisdiction of my North Wasteland Hall. You really don't pay attention to my North Wasteland Hall. Seeing Master Hu fall like this, Su Hall Master's face suddenly sank. Anyway, Master Hu is also a man of his North Wasteland Hall. He has offered many good things to him over the years. He is also half his own man. Now he can't help being angry when he sees his subordinates die. At the moment when the cry fell, the body of Su Jian Lord suddenly flickered, and the terrible speed made people shudder. However, in the blink of an eye, Su Jian Lord had appeared in front of Xiao Yang. His palm turned over and fell hard against Xiao Yang's chest. This move was a killing move. Lean on Luo's palm. Just as Xiao Yang was about to make a move, the palm of Su Jian Master suddenly trembled rapidly in front of him. Then, a series of palm prints like real palms appeared in Xiao Yang's chest like ghosts. If such a bombardment falls together, even Xiao Yang is afraid he can't bear it. Towering hand. Xiao Yang also saw the horror of leaning on Luo's palm at a glance. However, the combat experience accumulated over the years made Xiao Yang unafraid. His mind moved, and the surging soul power in the center of his eyebrows suddenly surged out into a huge palm with clear outline. With a blow of his broad palm, he resisted the countless palm prints in front of him. Bang! With a dull loud noise, Xiao Yang and the Lord of Su Hall both withdrew backward, with a distance of 100 steps between them. The blow just now, although Xiao Yang risked a small loss, it didn't hurt much. However, the Lord of Su Hall failed to hit, and his body twinkled again, like a maggot of tarsal bone. Then he came around Xiao Yang again and appeared behind Xiao Yang, a whip leg pounded out from top to bottom, as if to split Xiao Yang in two from the top. Golden Elephant, Kai. With a low cry in his heart, the muscles around Xiao Yang's body suddenly became tense. The terrible giant force burst out from each muscle cell like a dragon waking up. The invisible power condensed into a thin layer of golden light on Xiao Yang's body surface, and this seemingly thin layer of golden light blocked the terrible blow of the Lord Su Hall behind her. Dang! When the blow fell, the leg of Su Jian Lord seemed to kick on the wall. Xiao Yang's body shook slightly, which was to easily remove the great force behind him. At the same time, the force image was determined to display at this moment. The more terrible force condensed in Xiao Yang's palm. At the moment of turning back, Xiao Yang grabbed Su Jian Lord's ankle in his palm, the terrible force seemed to crush the bones. While Su Jianzhu's face changed greatly, Xiao Yang waved his arm and threw the latter's body back like garbage. Bang! The body of Su Jian Lord smashed into the city, and the terrible force poured out, which forced a large area of the surrounding ground into a depression. With only one blow, a huge pit was left in the city, and at the bottom of the pit was the Su Jian Lord who was usually feared by everyone. In Xiao Yang's hands, the 9-star fighting emperor is so vulnerable. What's more, the most shocking thing is that the person who blasted the 9-star fighting emperor is only a young 7-star fighting emperor. This is what the Lord Su said. I'm afraid no one would believe that a 9-star fighting emperor would have been so abused by a 7-star fighting emperor if it hadn't been seen by the people present today. Mutter. With a burst of dust and fog in the field, a sound of swallowing saliva filled with shock also sounded quietly in the city. In the void, Xiao Yang looked at the bottom of the hole filled with dust and fog. His eyes narrowed slowly. There, an extremely terrible force was gathering madly. The fighting spirit in the main body of Su Hall is rapidly passing, and the huge fighting spirit is condensed in one point. It is not difficult to guess that the latter should be exerting a powerful fighting skill at the moment. Can't you stand it? With a low whisper in his mouth, the corners of his mouth aroused a sneer. Then, Xiao Yang also raised his hands, linked his 10 fingers, and the familiar cumbersome seal knot was played. The lightning speed was dazzling. At the same time, a huge flame finger was slowly condensed and formed over Xiao Yang's head. Spirit level intermediate fighting skill, big float print. Spirit level advanced fighting skills, bridging the gap. With the sound of cheering in their hearts, a huge square golden seal burst out from the pit in the world. It was powerful, like a slanting meteorite, straight into the sky, and the target was Xiao Yang. As for Xiao Yang's side, while he shouted down in his heart, the huge fingers on his head covered by the forest white flame also fell down. Where he passed, the void twisted and collapsed, and the strong momentum seemed to destroy the sky and the earth. The buzzing and trembling sound made a noise between heaven and earth, and everyone's heart was trembling. Such a terrible power, unless it was the 9-star fighting emperor, others didn't dare to touch it easily. Even if they felt this breath, it was enough to make everyone present pale. In the tense breath of the people, the huge golden seal collided with the huge flame finger. The roaring explosion rang through the heaven and earth, and the people in the city could even feel it. It seemed that the whole city was trembling, the earth shook, and a few people were unstable. The terrible energy breath shrouded between the positive heaven and earth, and a strong sense of oppression fell on the people's heads at this moment. It's really hard to imagine such a powerful force. At the moment, there is a huge gap in their cultivation. In the sky, when the golden giant seal collided with the finger, the world was quiet. Then, a terrible energy storm that almost wanted to destroy the sky and the earth swept wildly in all directions with the center of the collision between the two. The forest white flame was wrapped with the surging fighting chi energy. Where it passed, the invisible void collapsed in an instant, and all the spectators in the field. It was also at this moment that his face changed greatly and his body retreated one after another. However, in the twinkling of an eye, nearly half of the buildings in the city were destroyed under this terrible energy storm. As for those people, in addition to some strong fighting emperors who have strong cultivation and can resist them, every semi-emperor also has countless wounded. The forest white flame emits a dazzling white light, covering the whole city. At this moment, everyone's eyes are covered. One after another, they still can't help looking at the center of the white light. There, in addition to a piece of white light that can't be looked directly at, there is an extremely terrible atmosphere of destruction. All the people present were shocked by this. It's really hard to imagine that with the cultivation of the 7-star fighting emperor, they can be fearless or even suppress it in front of the 9-star fighting emperor. At any time, they probably won't choose to believe it. Now, when all this really appears in front of them, but they don't want to believe it. Today's Xiao Yang told them with practical actions that under the premise of absolute power, any rules can be broken and cultivated, and may not be able to determine everything. The two powerful fighting skills impact each other and do not give in to each other. The earth-shaking hum resounds through the world. However, such a balance of time has only lasted for a few tens of seconds. Click. Suddenly, The crisp sound of rupture sounded in the sky. Between heaven and earth, eyes looked at each other. They were all suspicious. They were also very curious. Where did this broken sound come from? Is it the giant seal or the giant finger? At this time, on the ground below, there was a huge pit at the bottom. At this time, the Sioux Hall Lord looked very frightened. Others don't know, but his heart is very clear that the big float print is related to himself. Any change in fighting skills is within his perception. At the moment, the place where the broken sound comes from is his big float print. The big float seal and the Mi Huang finger seem to be unable to maintain balance, but in the end, the Mi Huang finger is still much stronger than the former. This is not only because of the higher level of fighting skills, but also Xiao Yang himself. The latter's combat power is comparable to that of the strong one in the middle of the 9-star fighting emperor, and the Lord of the Sioux Hall is only worthy of the early days of the 9-star fighting emperor. In contrast, the Lord of the Sioux Hall is far from Xiao Yang's opponent in any aspect and will lose, which is also expected. How is it possible? My big float print. How can I lose to the fighting skills of a hairy boy? How is this possible? The fighting skill was about to break, and the face of the Lord Su became white. However, he didn't wait for him to move. Bang! In the next moment, there was only a loud sound of breaking. The big float print displayed by the Lord of Sioux Hall was completely broken at this moment. The collision of the two fighting skills, from the beginning to the end, is less than a minute in total. The suppression of absolute power made Xiao Yang's plain face unchanged from beginning to end. The ordinary 9-star fighting emperor no longer has any threat to him today. After that, the famine relief means that with the remaining strong power, the prestige does not decrease and falls hard towards the Lord of the Sioux Hall. The raging heat wave swept away, and the hot temperature scorched the invisible void. The fire wave swept, wave after wave, and the white light that was originally full of heaven and earth dispersed. The onlookers also had a crazy retreat with sharp changes in their faces, for fear of being affected by the storm. As for the Lord of the Sioux Hall, there was no trace of ruddy on his white face, but in his eyes, it also seems empty. Under this unparalleled fear, his soul has cowered. Even if Xiao Yang stops now, I'm afraid he will die of fear. Boom! Not surprisingly, the earth-shaking explosion rang through the sky, and the whole city trembled violently at this moment. All the people in the city flew into the sky with fear, far away from the world-shaking disaster. It's hard to imagine that such a terrible power could be achieved by a 7-star fighting emperor. For a long time, when the storm dispersed, only a huge pit like an abyss was left in the city below, and all the surrounding buildings were ruthlessly swallowed up. In the sky, those who had not been involved in the after-effects of the fighting skills were pale at this time, looking at the scene in front of them, and their eyes were filled with a deeply unbelievable look. In the sky, Xiao Yang's expressionless face and repeated entanglement have made him no longer have any compassion for these guys. Taking back his eyes, Xiao Yang gently touched the void on his toes, moved forward, and wanted to pass over the city and continue to move forward. Just as Xiao Yang's body was about to pass over the huge ancient castle, his body slowly stopped, his eyes withdrew, and his eyes fell on the ancient castle with cold eyes. As soon as the backhand turned, the huge Xian heavy ruler fell into his hand. The other hand swept the heavy ruler gently. With a bang, the forest white flame rose and wrapped the whole giant ruler. The flame devours the wave ruler. With a low cry in his mouth, the giant ruler in his hand waved. Then, a magnificent white ruler orn burst out with a hiss, tearing the void and rising against the storm. Finally, it fell on the ancient castle below with the momentum of destroying the sky and the earth. Then, in the shocked eyes of everyone in the city, the ancient castle where the North Wasteland Hall and the South Hall were located collapsed and turned into ruins. Now, the South Hall of the North Wasteland Hall was completely destroyed. Once the South Hall was destroyed, it was a big shock to the North Wasteland Hall. I believe that soon, the name of Xiao Yang will be introduced into the North Wasteland Hall. At that time, I'm afraid there will be a storm in the North area, which was originally calm. This video will end here.